So as you're teaching a child to read, it can be challenging finding early chapter books. We have the phonics readers that go with our program or Bob books, or there's some early readers. In fact, I think I've done a video on early readers if you're interested in that. But it can be a challenge going from those early readers into like an easy chapter book and then transitioning to harder chapter books. So that's what we're going to talk about today. Hey guys, welcome. Thanks for joining me today. If you are new to my channel, I'm a homeschooling mom of 3. I have a first grader, a kindergartner, and a toddler. I'm also a second generation homeschooler, and this channel is everything homeschool. And today I want to share with you some of our favorite early chapter books. Now, most of these, or a large portion of these, are series, which is awesome because in the case of my child, she goes through books so fast that if I can find a series I like and just get all the ones in the series, that saves me a lot of work proofreading and finding new chapter books. I do not have all the books I'm going to recommend on hand. The ones I do, I will show you, and I'll try to show you a bit inside because you can see the level of challenge the reading is at. The other ones that I don't have, I'll just put a picture up here so that you can see that. Some of these I have because we own, and some because we've gotten them from the library. But most of these, if not all of them, have been very easily accessible through our public library. So if you're interested in them, you could probably get most of them that way. I'm going to try to show you them in order of easiness to difficulties. So I'll try to do like the very, very earliest beginner, like just starting chapter books, and then move into the ones that are more solidly chapter books. And I'm going to try to go that way. If they're a little bit out of order, sorry, I'm doing this by memory and what I could see, but I'm going to try to kind of just do that in general. Also, while a lot of these do seem maybe a little bit more girl-friendly, there are a good 5 or 6 in here that I would say are also equally boy-friendly. So this is not necessarily just for girl or just for boy. I think a lot of these could be crossed over. So let's just start. One of the very beginning readers, and these ones we've been borrowing from the library, are these Penny I Can Read series. So I have here just Penny and Her Doll, Penny and Her Sled, Penny and Her Song. And these are really cute. They're about a little mouse family, and Penny is the little girl, and they're always about her. And the amount of reading they have in them is very, very minimal. So these are like your very beginner chapter books. So technically are chapter books, but you can see the amount of words on the pages is not much. There's always lots of pictures. Whoops, it's hard to flip them. Fine. And let's see, the length of the chapter is about, I think it maybe one more page to this particular chapter. Whoops. Yeah. And that would be a full chapter in these books. So these are cute and sweet. I've been happy with them. I haven't felt like they had any issues that I would worry about. And they're just cute. My daughter really likes those. Those may be a little bit more girl leaning than boy leaning for that one. Okay. Another set that is, again, early readers are Henry and Mudge. My daughter really enjoys these, but these would be great for a boy because they're all about a boy, Henry, and his dog, Mudge, and their adventures together. Sometimes the little girl Annie's in the series, but the main 2 characters are Henry and Mudge. And there's a ton of these. These are, I think this one, the series was classified as a level 1. These would be, I think, a level 2 is what these are saying mostly, but I'll show you a little bit inside one of these as well. So this would be your chapter. There's like 3 or 4 total in here. Again, lots of illustrations, very light on words to illustrations. I don't know if I want to go through a whole chapter, but I would say these chapters maybe are a hair longer than the other ones, even though the words on the page is about the same. So those are a great series. There are tons of those, if you like those. Another one that I don't have on hand, but that my daughter absolutely loved, and this will be great for a boy as well, because it's all about 2 dogs and a cat. And it's called Doggo and Pupper. And they were about the same, if I'm remembering, about the same reading level as Henry and Mudge. All about Doggo, who's a grown dog, and Pupper, who's a little puppy who comes into the into the house, and then the cat, and their adventures and their story. And they're really simple, a little bit silly, but they have overall good morals, good friendships. I like the characters. There's only like 3 or 4, unfortunately. My daughter would have loved if there had been more, but she really, really enjoyed that series. Okay, another series we like as a whole, there's maybe a handful of these books I'm not a huge fan of, but as a whole, these Nate the Great books are great. These are turning into not a huge amount longer. These, I don't know, I would say maybe a hair harder than the Henry and Mudge series. Not super. There's a whole bunch of these if you like, and these are all about Nate the Great, who's a boy who thinks of himself as a detective, and his friends call him to solve mysteries, and he, Nate the Great, solves mysteries. So these would be great for boys or girls. There's reoccurring characters in them, but for the amount of text that these ones would have, the artwork is always very similar in all his pictures, a little bit either black and white or just garish, but not tons of text per page. Again, these are just good beginner ones if you're trying to get your child reading but don't want to overwhelm them by page. The chapters are a bit longer though. So that is, oops. That's throw books. That is this one. Okay, another series which I loved. I thought they were so, so cute. Now, granted, my daughter didn't love them as much as I did, so it might depend on your kid. She liked them, but they weren't like her all-time favorite. Were Mango and Bam Bang. And it's about a little girl, Mango, and she finds, shoot, what is it called? A tapir? Is that how you pronounce it? It's those little, like, elephanty piggy looking things with long snouts that are black and white striped. Lonely in the middle of the city, and so she takes it home and takes care of it. And it's her and her tapir's adventures. And they're simple. There's not a lot of text. Again, an early chapter book. I just loved the art. I loved the story. I thought it was adorable. So I would say probably maybe geared towards a girl a little bit more than a boy on those, but I don't know. And there was like 4 or 5 of those books. Okay, another book, and this one is not a series, it's just a single book. My daughter really enjoyed it. It was called Thimbleberry Stories. And that was a chapter book. I think it had like 4 or 5 chapters. I'm trying to remember the reading level. I think it was kind of in between reading levels, but I'm having a hard time remembering because it's been a while. I just remember she really enjoyed it. But it was all about little animals. So mice in the hedge and stuff. So little rodents and kind of stuff like that. Okay, another great series. That would be great for boys, as well as girls. My daughter really enjoyed it, but it would be great for her. It's called Good Dog Bo. That's the first book. There's a ton of them. There's like 20 or something books, and it's about a little farm dog and his adventures on the farm. These books are starting to step it up a little bit from the books that I've shown you prior. I don't have one on hand. There's lots of illustrations still, so lots to catch the eye, but the amount of words per page in the chapters it's becoming more like an authentic chapter book. But with lots of pictures to keep interest. That was kind of the balance I found when I was transitioning my daughter into chapter books a little bit, is if it didn't have enough illustrations, it got just text heavy, and that was hard for her. Not hard for her to read, but it wasn't as engaging. So the lots of illustrations really helped. But those were fun. I liked them. I didn't really have any issues with those either. And like I said, engaging, and it would be great for boys. Okay. Another series that is along a similar difficulty level as those Bo Dog series is the Sophie Mouse books. And these you may have seen around. These are so cute, guys. I love these. And they do, like I said, it remind me, if you've seen these are similar in length and illustration and challenge as that Good Dog Bo series. I'll just show you inside one of them a little bit. I love the illustrations. I think they're just really clever. And I think like every page pretty much has some sort of illustration. But it's all about Sophie Mouse and her family and her friends and her adventures. And they're cute. They're wholesome. I like them. Again, these are longer chapters. You're seeing that they're a little bit more of a true chapter book, kind of like the Bo Dog books, and longer story. But still, like I said, lots of illustrations to keep engaging and to help it not feel so text heavy. Okay, after Sophie the Mouse, and I'm not sure I would put this, I'm not 100% confident in putting this as challenging after the Sophie Mouse. I would say it's similar in level, it's just different. Would be, and these again would be probably more girl than boy, but these Owl Diaries books, my daughter, I didn't expect her to love these as much as she does, but she loves these. These are written a little different. They are chapter books, but they're not like quite the same. I would say these are more challenging, maybe in just the way that they're written, and they do have some made up words and a little bit of a bigger vocabulary. But these are written like a diary from this owl. Again, lots of pictures, which my daughter just really enjoyed. There's not a lot of text per page, and so maybe you would say they're easier than the Sophie the Mouse books, but I found that the vocabulary maybe seemed a little more robust, and the way of reading, your child has to be able to like follow text from spot to spot around the page in order to be able to do it. So that's kind of what those look like inside. She loved these, and again, there's like 20 of them. There's a lot of these. So if your child likes those are great. Okay, 2 more series, and these are getting to even more true chapter books. These are kind of a step above. That would be Cam Jansen. These are all about Cam and her friend Eric. Cam is the main character. She's called that because she has a photographic memory, and whenever she wants to remember something, she closes her eyes and says click, and so they nickname her Cam for camera. As a result, she solves all sorts of mysteries with her amazing photographic memory. Yeah, there's a lot of these. So this is up your child's alley, and I think, again, boy or girl, there's quite a few. But as far as like text, again, you're not starting with illustrations finally. There are illustrations in it, but I wouldn't say they're the primary. You're moving into, like, again, more of a true chapter book that has some illustrations, but not necessarily on every page. And they're all about mysteries. They're pretty simple. That's about the length of the chapter. There's normally, I would say There are 8 chapters in one of these, so this is getting to be a little bit more solid of a book. And those are good series. And then the last one, which a lot of people have seen, and I see a lot as read alouds, and we did start the series as a read aloud, and then I let my daughter kind of take it from there and enjoy the rest of them as chapter books. So maybe that would be a good way to introducing this series, is the Heartwood Hotel books. Now there's 4 of these. I only have the first 2. And these are definitely like a longer book. If you haven't seen inside these are great read alouds, by the way, with little kids. Girls especially, but I think boys could enjoy this as well. And like I said, reading 1 or 2 aloud together and then letting my daughter like take over as a continuation of her chapter books was a great way of doing it. These have like 15 chapters. So these are, like I said, the most solid of the chapter books. Their text is a little smaller, a little more text per page. There are illustrations, but they're not like as frequent as the other books. But the illustrations are pretty cute when they are there. So these would definitely be the most challenging depending on what level your low reader is at. But we really enjoyed these books, and my daughter really enjoyed them. The suspense in these kills her. She's really cute when it comes to suspense. She'll be really like, Mom, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. Do you think it really happens? No, I don't think so, but I don't know. It was like the most she could take, but she loved it. She was thrilled with the suspense, and when it was over, she wanted to tell me all about it. So those are some great chapter books to begin. Like I said, I tried to go from like easiest to hardest. You can kind of see where your child is at. If you have any questions on any of them, comment them below. I would also love to know what your favorite early chapter books have been, introducing your child from like the super easy readers into more robust reading on their own. What has been some of your favorite books as you guys have transitioned into solidly reading for themselves? Yeah, hopefully this was helpful. Hopefully you found some good ideas that you hadn't seen before. And I look forward to hearing from you guys which ones were your favorites.